Welcome back to a quick chat in the Cadillac. My name is SG and I like to explore the simplicity of complexity. So if you don't know, this is my show. Let me break it down for you real quick. Today we're talking about something slightly tricky. Okay, we're talking about clones, and I'm not talking about Growing Bud or Star Wars. I'm talking about clones. See, there's a fine line between someone who's inspired by you and someone who devalues everything that you bring to the table and believes in their heart of hearts that either they can recreate it themselves or they can teach someone else to recreate it without actually having to go through all the different trials and tribulations that you had to go through to develop your own capability. And clones are a useful way to measure your progress, because the more clones you have, the more you know you're doing some shit right. But there's still a fine line, right? You want to be an inspiration. And yes, people who are your clones are likely inspired by you. The difference between them and the people who are just inspired by you versus trying to clone you is the people who are inspired by you are inspired to do the work themselves, to create the version of themselves that they are inspired to be. Clones are not trying to do the work. They're trying to skip steps in order to emulate the results that you have. Essentially, they're trying to get from point A to point C, skipping point B entirely. Now, if you ask me why people would attempt to do this, I would say it's jealousy, okay? And this is why I say they're attempting to devalue you, because you have to put in the work to get the result. They see your result and they say that result is very simple to achieve. That result is very easy and convenient to achieve. All I have to do is pretend like I have those results, and I have those results. But you know, like the back of your hand, you know how much it took to get to those results. So they can't just emulate you in your mind. It's pretty fucking simple to understand. You can try to fake the funk, but the shit's not going to work out for you. Okay, fake it till you make it ain't really the case unless we're talking about perception. And though perception can play a big role in success, it does not play a big role in fulfillment. And that is where the difference maker lies. And then there can be people who will attempt to clone you within their life because they don't want to deal with every aspect of you. You may be a person who is a lot to deal with, or you may be a person who, is pretty simple to deal with, and anywhere in between. That doesn't really matter in this scenario that we're talking about. The idea is they're not willing to put up with everything that comes with you. Therefore, they'll try to create a clone of you to emulate you. That way, that clone can fill the void of your lost presence in their life. Now, since we know that you can't get the result without putting in the work, obviously this seems like a plan that is destined to fail. That doesn't stop it from occurring. In fact, it happens more often than we'd all like to think. Have any of y'all out there ever had an ex who you feel like was trying to make you be another person, even if it was for a very brief moment in time? Could be a week, could be a year, could be 10 years. It doesn't matter, but maybe I would assume if you've been out there and you've experienced a lot of life, or you've been unlucky enough to be one of those people who doesn't just have a high school sweetheart for their entire lifespan, you probably have ran into someone who has attempted to either clone you or make you into a clone. And if you're someone who has some sort of aspirations, goals, or dreams that causes you to work hard, to push, to make progress, then you, I would be very willing to bet, have encountered clones in your life just based off the pure fact that you are a valuable person. And because you are a valuable person, people want to emulate that. But those who can't do so securely and confidently will try to pretend to be you instead of actually doing the work to get themselves where they're supposed to be. Now, experiencing clones can have a varying range of effects on you, right? It can make you feel many different types of ways. In the example of a person who is cloning you, and you are directly observing this, right? No third party involved. This person's directly cloning you. It can make you feel a multitude of different ways. If you're an insecure person, it may make you feel as though someone's attempting to or starting to steal your shine. Someone is emulating you. Therefore, there's more than one level of comparison. There's more than one level of competition existing there, and you can feel insecure because of it. You can feel as though they're stealing your shine. Now, on the opposite end of the spectrum, if you're super secure and confident, then that person may validate you. That clone may validate you because you see that you're doing something so right, you're doing something so well, that people who even haven't begun the first step in becoming capable of doing that believe that they can do that. It's almost some sort of delusional inspiration. And the difference between someone who's inspired by you and someone who attempts to clone you is that the person who is inspired by you understands that there's work to do on their own path, and your path has inspired them to do that work. People who want to clone you want to skip the steps, point A to C, without going through B. That's already a very wide spectrum of emotions, but if we introduce the other scenario with a third party, it can make you feel even more emotions. On one hand, you could be upset by the fact that someone decided that though you were too much to handle with, they enjoyed and valued your presence in their life so much that they decided to manipulate or plot with someone else to replace you, essentially by emulating you falsely. That is one hell of a pill to swallow, especially if your relationship to that person, the third party attempting to recreate a clone from someone else, and you shared a relationship that was somewhat strong and somewhat intense in the past. It can be any form of relationship. It could be a friendship, it could be a familial relationship, it can be a professional relationship, and of course, it can be a romantic relationship as well. However, the effect can still produce a feeling of sadness. On the flip side, it can almost, I don't want to say the word disgusted because it's not quite there, although some of y'all out here have such volatile feelings that I wouldn't put it past you. But I would say disappointed is a more accurate word. It can make you even feel disappointed in the person who's trying to recreate you. It can make you feel as though, why didn't you want to put in whatever work or effort it would take to have me in your life if you're just going to go and recreate me through someone else, you know? It's like you wanted like a stuffed doll version of me. On the flip side, it can validate you. If this person is no longer in your life, which I'm assuming would be the case, unless it's at the very beginning stage of them trying to create a clone of you, it can also validate you and tell you, well, this person does value me. However, they just weren't, man or woman enough to step up to the plate in order for me to exist in their life and for us to cooperate and coexist. So they decided to get a dollar store or the Temu version of me. So clones can be an emotionally volatile subject for you to encounter, but the way that you can best handle it is with security and confidence. And that type of stuff, some people are blessed with, but others have to build that overnight, brick by brick. Okay, sometimes you have to build your confidence and self-esteem to the point where clones don't faze you. Okay, they are just validation for the fact that you are progressing and moving in the right direction. And those around you who can't get with the program are so invested in you that instead of getting with the program and requiring themselves to do the extra work because they're lazy or whatever, insecure or whatever reason they decide, they have to emulate you, either directly or through another person, so that they can fill that void in your life that your lack of presence left. So let your clones exist within this world, especially if it makes people in your past feel some sort of fulfillment. Because all that really means is you left an outstanding mark. You left a mark that will not be easily washed or scrubbed away on that person's life. And 9 times out of 10, it will be positive. Now, for those of you out here who chase and try to recreate people who had a negative impact on your life, that's a form of self-sabotage, and that's a conversation for another day. But today, I just wanted to make sure you understand. See, clones, imitation, can be the highest form of flattery, but it's not how they do it, it's how you look at it that determines whether or not you feel flattered. That's what I got to say. Peace.